Why, hello YouTube. This is BalorMage again, and for the 77th time in a row, we're bringing you a Summon Raging Spirit Poison variant build for League Start again. I can't believe that this is still this good and that it's been this long. This is my second favorite minion build. My first favorite obviously being Holy Relic, but Holy Relic plays nothing like a minion build. When you play it, it doesn't feel like a minion build. So if you're after the feeling of a minion build, SRS is the one. So, a few changes have happened. If you've played this before or looked at it before, the important things to know is that we have no idea how hard the sword will be to get that we normally use, or whether it'll even be available at all. So, we've built the whole thing without it. It's made almost no difference to its total damage and finished product, but it has completely automated our offering setup and curse and everything like that we would normally have used an Arcanist brand for. I've left both endgame versions in this part of the building for if you have the sword, which will be slightly more DPS, or if you have a wand, which could be the same DPS if you had a really good wand, but with an average wand it's just ever so slightly less, but not in an important amount. So, that being said, let's jump into the path of building and show everybody what's going on. This is Summon Raging Spirit. This skill I have leveling trees for. You get to play it from about level 8 onwards the entire time. I do have all of the leveling trees in here and everything. They are behind me, so let me move myself. Here we go. They're all behind me, so we've got all the leveling trees. They're great. It is worth noting that, technically speaking, leveling this build, at least until like either normal or cruel lab as some sort of ignite prolif spell speed leveling build and just doing a respec would technically be slightly faster. But I never like doing any of that stuff. I like playing my build from as early as I can whenever it is viable. And this is only a little tiny bit slower than doing like the like official fastest builds around, right? So all the leveling trees are here. The entire gameplay of this is literally just shield charge around, press SRS once or twice, shield charge to the next pack, press SRS once, shield charge to the next pack. It is quite decently tanky, lots of recovery, absolutely fantastic. But using the loadouts up here, you'll see that there is an early end game set. This will be when you first get to maps. We have filled this in with just absolute like basic gear. This is the most basic you can get. Everything here is just like try and get life and res cap. That's literally it. It's fine. We have two endgame versions. One is just called Endgame Poison. It uses our United in Dream like we used to use. It is certainly a little easier to get running in that setup if you can get your hands in a United in Dream, because it comes with the 60% chance to poison. So you don't need a lot of poison chance on your jewels. But that being said, it's only 19.4 million DPS in this setup, which is definitely not a min-max setup. This is just like the first goal, right? That being said, the wand version in exactly the same level of gear, just a tiny bit shy of 18. So it's 1.5 million DPS short. The difference is it's a decent amount faster. It gets to run haste instead. We've still maintained block cap, spell block cap, everything else. And it is just a wand that looks a little bit like this. That is 4 stats, no double plus, nothing maxed. Pretty reasonable. That can be a +1 all or a +1 minion roll. These are quite easy to make. We only went with 3 stats. We only went with 3 stats and a crafted one for this. So again, super reasonable. The difference being you get to use trigger here. And if you get to use trigger there, then you get to have your Desecrate, Despair, and Flesh Offering all in your trigger weapon, which means you do not need an Arcanist brand to do those things, and your offerings have 100% uptime. They're fantastic. We do have our Raised Spectres. We do have our Animate Guardian. The quality of life on both of those is now through the roof. They are fantastic. You will see our utility minions that we want listed in order here. These are the ones that I prefer to run for this. Perfect Judgment, Forest Warrior, Guardian Turtle, and Warlord. That's right, we do get 4. Warlord will be the last one, so while you've got only 3, run 3. And it is worth noting that you can get a Pale Sephirim and an Arena Master nice and early, and 2 Charge Monkeys if you make your way up to 4 Spectres before you can afford to buy Corpses for the first time. 2 Charge Monkeys are pretty good. They'll help you run around faster. You should definitely be using something. If you can't be bothered to get anything, you should absolutely just go grab 3 or 4 of the Charge Monkeys. The Carnage Chieftains from Act 2, they're amazing. They hand out Frenzy Charges, and if you have at least 2 of them, they will hand out a ton of Frenzy Charges so fast that even your SRS will have 3 charges most of the time. The only thing wrong with the Path of Building is the same thing wrong with the Holy Relic Path of Building, is that minions have accuracy mastery. We have taken that in the Path of Building. This won't exist. This will be a minion cooldown recovery mastery. We are still going to be using that cooldown recovery mastery again for our Spectres. 20% CDR on all of our Spectres utilities is fantastic. We want it. Okay. So, same thing with the min-max version. Min-max version has a ton of damage, poison cap, well over poison cap, 53 million DPS. All the gear in the min-maxed version is very good gear. Obviously, you don't have to do the whole swap at once. You try and get one thing at a time, right? It ends up being very, very tanky. It ends up having a ton of recovery, a ton of life, a good amount of energy shield, and just absolute bucket loads of damage. We have also done the min-max version without the sword. Fantastic. We get to keep all of our quality of life. So, what about our bloodline ascendancies? Okay, we have, as far as I can tell, one good option. Which is good because we have one ascendancy node we don't really need. So we do have Commander in Darkness here. This is quite a nice ascendancy. You will definitely have this early, and you will not be looking to swap to a BalorMage ascendancy until you have at least your 4 Spectres and some decent gear going on. The reason we're going to want decent gear is because this guy gives 30% all res to you and nearby allies, which means 2 things. 1, I need to find another 90 res, and 2, I'm going to need to put on a 1 minion res roll somewhere. So like my bone ring is going to have to come with minion res as one of its suffixes if I want to be able to replace it. But if we replace it, we can replace it with this beautiful thing right here, which will be pretty damn fantastic for endgame. We're going to have this 2% attack and grasp speed per SRS. That is only affecting us, but it is really, really, really nice. We're going to have at least 20 of them out all the time. That is 40% attack and cast speed. While mapping, all while bossing, it's going to make us shield charge around faster. It's going to make us have to not stop to cast as long. There's a lot of cast speed to get. But the big one is 12% defenses per raised Spectre. Love that. Defenses in PoE is referring to armor, energy shield, evasion, and I think actually ward as well, but we're not using ward. So that'll end up being 48% increased armor and energy shield. There is also this one, which may be useful. 2% increased damage per summoned phantasm. There may be a world where we have 10 phantasms out. Unfortunately, it was impossible for me to test this. So this is something that just maybe we get to use that one as well. Maybe we don't. And it would be in my utility minions. I would be dropping minion life for Summon Phantasm on kill. Summon Phantasm on kill has an on-hit component as well. So with 4 Spectres and an Animate Guardian, I think there's a decent chance that we might be able to keep Phantasms up with that, just to make use of this and get another, what is that? It'll be another 20% movement speed, which would be really nice for quality of life. Amazing, good for speed. But that last bit is a question mark. I do not know whether that will be enough. And if it isn't, I don't think it's worth trying harder to get it. So these 2 nodes, the 2 parts of this node that we benefit from, already worth it on its own. So that's the one I'd be going for. Otherwise, real happy that it turned out so well without the sword. Love that. Really gonna have to play this again at some point myself, because it has been a little while. I keep playing Holy Relic, but this thing is exceptionally high on the DPS, especially in the max version, and just really quite fun. That is all I have. I will see everybody next time. Goodbye.